Yeah. So yeah, good morning all. Yeah, I think we can start the session now. So we are glad that we have Dr. Kenneth with us today lah. All right. So Dr. Kenneth, we can start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wilson. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera, and salam campus Rama. Thank you very much for your participation in this roadshow. The purpose of the roadshow is, when we had it in a face-to-face session, is to visit each faculty and institute and to identify specific problems which they may be related to the system itself. So if you had any issues regarding the system, we used to address them with our technical staff. Now, for today's roadshow, I will be covering first the system itself, which is the Smart V3. I will be showing you the features and the basic 1732, but I will also be covering certain things like widgets which have been added to the system, which you can use. And the second part, we will show you how to do the OER, the Open Educational Resources Repository. If you don't have a email ID or link to that, we will show you how to do that, because Zul is with me and we can register you in case you are not registered. The OER is a place where you can deposit all your content, which is non-indexed and which is general creative content. And you can use that for, it links back to your Google Scholar, and it will allow you to actually track everything which you do in the system, because the OER repository is based on a platform which allows you to monitor your creative content. Okay, so that's the purpose of the OER. And I will also briefly touch upon the MOOCs. Now, both OER and MOOCs are part of our KRA of the university, so I will touch upon those. Okay, let's start first with the system itself. Zul will share the link to the training course. Okay, so if Zul will share the link to the training module in the chat box. So you can go into the chat box and you can click on the link and register for the course as a student. I will demonstrate to you why you need to register to this as a student. Okay, so there'll be a link in the chat box. Please click on the link and register for the course. So it'll take you to a registration window and then you can register. I will show you how the system will actually work when a student registers. Okay, now coming back to the platform itself, once you're registered, I will project my screen. The screen is online, so that's the LMS which I'm projecting, which is the Smart V3. Now, within this system, we are having the option of registering students. So now at IPB, we have very few students, so it's easy to register. But some of us are also teaching undergraduate courses. So the first thing which you may want to do is to register your students in the system itself. Now, based on the feedback received from all lecturers, it's ideal to have the students register via a password. Okay, I will show you how it's done, because this prevents, for instance, students who are not registered for your course from entering into your system. So we do it via password. So we go into the, I will share with you the screen. Okay, so hopefully you can see. Okay. Okay, so I will zoom into the screen itself. Okay, now when you look into the screen on your window, there's a block. Now, some of the lecturers from IPB have messaged me and said they cannot view the block. Okay, now this block, if you cannot view it, you actually have to view blocks. Okay, there's a view blocks feature on this. You can actually view your blocks so that you can see the blocks which are hidden. And sometimes on a mobile phone, you can also do this as well. So if you can't see this block in your respective terminal, you can view. Then once the view blocks feature is there, for example, I'm going to close this. So you cannot see any block. Now, once you open it, you can see all the blocks. Now, within this block, there are many, many interesting blocks which will save you a lot of time. One of them is the backup and restore. I will cover that. So if you access this backup and restore block, okay, backup, restore, and import, you do not have to reprogram the entire system every semester. All you need to do is to back up your previous semester's course and restore it in the system, or what we call the import. This is very easy to do, and it'll, within 4 clicks of the mouse, you can actually back up your whole course without having to recopy and reuse all the notes. So that's one of the features I'll cover. But now we will focus first on the users. So when we want to enroll users for the course, you click on this user tab. In this, I can see the enrolled users. So you are all the enrolled users. So you can see Eric, Chris Wilson. So you can see the users here and their designated function. If you want to remove a user, you can click and remove the user. Now, when it comes down to this particular function of users, please ensure that you do not unenroll your student in the middle of the course, or the student does not self-unenroll. Because if this happens, the entire data pertaining to that student will be lost. There won't be any more data, and then you cannot recover it again. So please ensure that once the student is enrolled for the course, do not request from them, please do not unenroll, or you don't unenroll them yourself, or else your data will be lost and cannot be recovered for your future record and the course file. So this is the function of the enrollment key. Now, for those of you who are teaching many students and you do not want to create confusion, means unnecessary students logging into your course, you can actually do a enrollment method. So this is done as follows. So you have users and you click on enrollment method here. Okay. So there are enrollment methods here, which you will see. So you select the enrollment method, which is self-enrollment. Okay. And you can give it an instance name. For example, this is enroll for Roadshow. Instance is basically just a name for that particular event. So we call it instance because the system is designed that way. So enroll for so UMS Roadshow, UMS IP. You call it RS. I call it this. And you allow existing enrollments, yes. Allow new enrollments, yes. And here is where you have to enter the key. Okay. Now I'm going to put in a key. It's just A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's your key. So make sure that the rest of us, sorry, A, B, C, D. So whoever has enrolled until now is okay, but whoever enrolls after this has to use this key. So Zul will copy and paste the key. So Zul, it's A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So copy and paste in the chat. So whoever enrolls after this will have to use the key. Okay, so you have group enrollment key, student, and so on and so forth. But usually if you want to limit your enrollment, for those who are teaching undergraduate courses, we actually set up enrollment date. Okay, this is because we do not want the students to enroll too late, because then their data will not be tracked in the system. So this is something which you should ensure. For example, you enroll them in the first 3 days of the course so that all the data is tracked and captured by the system. Okay, and then you notify the student before enrollers expire. So these are functions which you can enroll, which you can change, but it's entirely up to your discretion. But the main thing is the enrollment key. Okay, so once the enrollment key is saved, and you can give them a message. So this one can be welcome to the course, and you can give them a, okay, for example, if you want to give an introductory video on YouTube, you can actually add it here. And they will see the video for the first instance when they log into that course. Okay, so you add method. So now from now onwards, whoever enrolls for this course will have, using the link which Zul shared, will have to use the enrollment key, which is caps lock ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the first thing which we do. Okay, yeah. So there's a question regarding that. So Zul is monitoring the terminal. What is the question?
Could we disable unenrolled students?
You can disable it using you don't allow them to enroll. So usually we go back to that. Okay, so you don't do self-enrollment, right? So you just disable that. So, okay, so here you have self-enrollment. So in that case, what you can do is if we want to disable that, what you do is we don't share the password because the other part is you'll have to go through the system and you'll have to prevent them from enrolling and things like that. So what you do, the best thing to do is to use password-based system. So we tried out many things. For example, the lecturer block, the enrollment, admin block, but I would recommend to you to save all that trouble. Just use the password-based system. It's safer and you won't have any complications. Otherwise, what will happen if you block enrollment? Sometimes your users may have an issue and then they cannot find the password and it comes back around. So they will complain to the help desk. I hope that answers the question. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So that is all related to enrollment, because what we observed is the major problem which we have based on the statistics of complaint is the enrollment issue, because students will have two issues. One is they cannot log in, which is we advise them how to log in. So if your student have any problem trying to log in, you just contact help desk. Nora is here, so we'll advise them. Usually the instruction is given. They can recover the user ID and password through their email. Okay, so that's solved. The other one is many complaints from lecturers regarding the enrollment. So what's happening is that students, for example, because everything is online, sometimes the question papers are online. So students from the third year and the second year. So the second year student enroll in the third year program, and then they will download and extract all the information, and then they will already know the answers for the next semester. So to prevent it, what we are doing, we are recommending that all lecturers give a password. Okay, don't block enrollment, please give the password. Okay, that's the first thing regarding the enrollment itself. So now once your enrollment is active, we can actually see the enrolled users. So I will go back and I can see all my users here. Go back down. It's big screen, so I will go down. Yeah. So I go back to users. So usually when the screen is zoomed, you cannot see it at the top, but now we have enrolled users. Okay, so we have everyone here enrolled 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 enrolled users in the course. So if possible, can you please all enroll, because I can show you the analytics feature in the system itself. Okay, so we will see that. Okay, I'm going to download something. While enrolling, please enroll so I can show you how the other features work. I need enough students to enroll so I can show you the system. So check Zul, how much everyone enrolling, right? Okay. Zul, the download from here is going to file. I want to download this. So let's download as PDF, right? Goes to where?
Go to.
Oh, okay. It goes to file. Enrolled. This is enrolled. Screen is online, right? Okay. I just refresh, huh? So. Okay, so we have, okay, thank you for enrolling. Yeah, we need that much. So the rest you try and enroll, but I want to show you the analytics. So later on you can identify the students who are lagging behind. So, and who are in the system itself. Okay, now there are some features here which you will not be using in IPP because you have few students, but you may want to use when you have a larger class in the undergraduate context, because most of us are teaching both the undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Okay, so there are some new features. For example, one is the chat feature. There's a chat inside the system. For example, you want to have a discussion and you can use the chat feature without going online. You don't have to have your online class in terms of your video. You can just keep the chat window open and you can chat using a Moodle mobile app. Okay, so I will show you that feature. There's also a feature for grouping for those of you who have hundreds of students as undergraduate, or maybe even 50 students, and you can make them into groups and give them assignment based on a grouping based system. Okay, so this is done because many of us cross over, and we go into other faculties and we may have this problem. Okay, let's look at the next feature after users. The next feature which we have to do is comply with the 1732. Now please take note that 1732 is the older system which was the ministry's audit. The Ministry of Education has an audit based on 1732, but that will be changing soon. Once the Senate approves, we'll have a 40-40-20 system. So that is based on a different criterion, but until now we are still following the 1732. So the first thing which you need to do is when you go into your course is you turn your editing on. Okay, so I just zoom out because I cannot see. Okay, so the button is actually here. So all of you are aware of this. Everyone is cognizant of this button here. And the first thing which you need to do if you're a new lecturer, Dr. Mardani is there and Dr. Eric. I think you have attended training before, but the first thing which you need to do is to add your course synopsis. So please be careful with the course synopsis because the icon is slightly different. And if you're an older user, because you won't have that experience, but if you're an older user, the link is slightly different. The picture, because we think by graphics, so you need to do that first. So add an activity or resource, and then you'll have two types of activities here. Because this is a Moodle system, it is optimized and standardized wherever you go, whichever university you go in, which is using Moodle, whether it's in the US or in Malaysia, they will be using the same set of the activities and resources. There are two things over here in the Moodle system. One is the activity and one is the resources. Okay. Now, when you're doing your 1, 7, 3, and 2, some of these are activities and some of these are resources. The first one which you do is a resource. Okay. That resource is actually going to go into your system. Okay. So I will show you how it's done. Now, when you want to upload your synopsis, look at this button here, which is PDF synopsis. I just zoom on it again so that you know where it is. It's called PDF and it's called synopsis. Okay, it's normally because we are used to seeing PDF as red Adobe Acrobat, we may miss this and we see it as blue. So this is the one which you need to do. So click on this link, synopsis, add it to the system, and then you can add, drag and drop your synopsis here. I'm just going to drag and drop a random file. Okay, I just drag and drop a PDF file here, so it's okay. Now, in this course synopsis, you can add here course synopsis. Okay, now we know it as table 4.2 and so on and so forth, but the student may not know it as table 4.2. You can put here course synopsis, and if you want, bracket, parentheses, and table 4.2. In this description, you copy and paste your original introduction. Okay, you can add your CLO, PLO here, but this is entirely at your discretion. There's no standard. Now, this particular course which I created for you, you can access it anytime to view it and extract the information. And now there is one button here which you need to be aware of for the mobile users. Okay, there are two. When this system is designed for viewing on mobile and on any other smartphone device such as a tablet. So if you want the student to view it in one page, always click here, display description on course page. Now, if a student views this on mobile, they can scroll only one time. They don't have to keep on click out. Then this is because in some of the people who have, for example, in the kampung, you don't have enough coverage or bandwidth. You have, every time you click, it refreshes the page and you have to use a bandwidth. But if you display description on course page, the page will load only once and they can access everything in one go. Okay, so they'll be reducing their usage of their metered connection if they are using a metered connection. So you have everything over here. Now, below this content or activity, you will have a lot of buttons over here. Okay. Usually, by default, lecturers will not manipulate or adjust these buttons because it's by default. But there are some things which you need to do by default. Okay, so one is activity completion. Now, if you want to track your students' progress, for instance, you have a class of 50 students, you want to track who is lagging behind and who is not lagging, who is actually participating in the course. What you need to do is you can click this. Show activity as complete when conditions are met. Now, if you do it as a general default for everything, for lectures, for the activities and so on and so forth, you will be able to track the student's usage. If you don't, it will not track. The system will not track the student. It will by default assume that they are doing it. You won't see any kind of data on that. Okay, for synopsis, you will generally give them a date, usually the first week, and you enable the date. So they download and access the synopsis in the first week. Generally, when we had our when we used to do face-to-face class, in the first lecture, we used to take the attendance, distribute a hard copy of the synopsis and ensure the student signed off saying that they had received the synopsis. This was the procedure. But when you are working in an online environment, you can't do that. So you can enable this feature and then the student will have to view the activity in order for the conditions to be met, which is the like the student has to view the synopsis, or else later they will say you did not give us the synopsis. So we can track that using the log file for synopsis. You can put in a tag, hashtag. Now these tags are very important because when you are teaching multiple subjects, maybe 2 or 3 subjects per year, or when you're preparing your course file, and if you want to find out specific content, you can actually create tag. When you do a search, when you log in and do a search, you can actually find that. So I can call it course synopsis for this course with the course code, and you can track it. So that reduces your workload significantly. Okay, then these are competencies. Usually we don't have this because this is tracked by the OBE system. So we don't add this because we don't want to create another redundancy with lecturers keeping on keying in multiple sites. So the course competencies are linked only to the OBE system. Okay, so once you finish, you save and display. So once you save and display, the synopsis will be displayed. Now, this is just a PDF file. Okay, so I just put up there randomly. It's not actual course synopsis. I just put it up there. Okay, so if you click, you can see that course synopsis. Okay. So is the course synopsis clear to everyone, especially Mardani and Eric? If you're there, you can. This should be one thing which you need to track. Okay. Zul, you can share the PHP link server inside the PHP. So Zul will share the PHP link, the PHP server for tracking 1732. Just copy and paste the link in the chat window. So Zul is going to copy and paste the link to your PHP server. So that PHP server is going, every time you ask, have I met 1732 and so on and so forth. If you have the PHP server link, please bookmark that link. Anytime you can click on the link and you can find out your 1732 and whether you have met. And it's a live link, which means if I have updated the system, the link will update simultaneously, concurrently. Okay, so that's the PHP link. So the thing about this link is you can only access it when you're in UMS on a UMS network. Or else if somebody is on in the UMS, you can ask them to access and screenshot for you. It's open for all so that everyone knows their status. Okay. That's the first thing which you need to do. Now, the next thing which you need to do in blended learning, this is not about 1732, it goes beyond that, is to add a feedback for this. So what you do is in this week, the first week, which is announcement, you can add a activity or resource. So this one you add feedback or forum. You can use any of these for feedback. Okay, you can call it general feedback for the course. Okay, so in this one, you put a description here, what you want the student to feedback on. For example, this may be all questions related to the course. Course deployment. So this can be students. So you can just put in a friendly message. Please post your questions here related to the course. Display description on the course page. And for this one, usually, can I show you the defaults? So usually, okay, for blended learning practice, we do not keep a forum open or the feedback open beyond that week, unless it's a general. This is a general forum. So we leave it open so you don't have to change this. Okay, then we have the question and submission settings. So the questions is always tracked, so you can address the students. This one is you can allow multiple submission, yes. Enable notification, yes. And auto number questions, yes. Okay, so after submission, you can give thank you for your feedback message here. Okay, so yes, you can show analysis and you can link it to the next activity which you want to do, which means what this means is that the system itself, the smart learning management system, actually does not require an operator. Okay, we can actually set it on autopilot, it will run itself. And this is by using the conditional formatting, but usually we don't do that in our regular courses unless you're doing a MOOC. What it means is like this. Suppose you are not there in the lecture at all, okay? You can actually record all your lectures and you'll have lecture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. So, and then the quiz associated with the lecture. You can set a condition. Student can only go to lecture 2 after they have watched lecture 1 and completed the quiz and got 90%. Okay, this is there in the system. Conditional formatting, which means that you can set the course on autopilot, it will monitor everything, and you'll get your analytics data at the end of the day. So that level of automation is present in the Smart V3. We actually use it for the MOOC, but I can show it to you if you need to do that. So the student has control over their learning experience. That is the whole idea of the Moodle LMS. So this one, you don't change it, you don't change any of these, and you don't mark this. Okay, now with regard to the marking of students, okay, activity completion, generally we make certain activities compulsory, such as the assignment or maybe the quiz, because we need to track the students' usage of that activity. However, if you don't want to mark them, for example, the feedback, this activity doesn't have any marks. So don't penalize the student, just let them be as student can manually mark activity as complete. So this is an activity which will not be assessed. So please leave it as such. And this is the feedback. Okay, give everything a hashtag. Other the data will overwhelm you later on. Okay, feedback 2022 for IPB RSI quality roadshow. So we have the feedback and you have your tags. So don't touch the competencies, save and display. Okay, so in this one you can ask a question. So the feedback is you create a feedback head, but you need to do this because some of us will forget to do this and then there's no question. Okay, so when you have your feedback, you edit question. So the question will be, for instance, usually we give it a longer text answer. Okay, so this is the one which I use. And then, so we have the question is, what are your expectations from this course? Okay, so this is the general feedback. Now, why do I ask this question? For example, sometimes people may ask, what is your expectation from your course? What do you expect to learn from this course? How do you wish to empower yourself? So this question is very important at this stage. You know why? Because when you have your reflective note at the end of the session, you can actually use this for your reflective note, the reflexi, which we need to add up in our course file. So keep this, print it out, ask the student to what are expectations of the course, get all these things out and use it for the course improvement in the file of reflection. So this is this is a very minor thing, but it's relevant to you. So you can give it a label and so on and so forth, and then you save the question. Okay. Now, once this one is displayed, okay, you will see, you can actually do it. You are all enrolled for the course. Okay. So I can actually see, go back here. Okay. Now it's in the system. So if you go back to your main window, you will see general feedback. When you click on it, you will see the feedback itself, and you just write something, just put some random feedback. It will come into my system and I'll show you how it works. Okay. Now that you have done the first week, right? If you want to have a chat session with your students, you can have an informal chat. You can set up a chat session in the system itself, or you can set a chat session into something known as Moodle Mobile Plus, Moodle Mobile app. Okay. So let's see how to add a chat. Okay, I just want to have an informal chat in the first week so the students can talk to me, but give it a certain time. Add an activity or resource, you click on chat. Add the chat and your chat is active here. Now call this chat, for example, we call it icebreaker. Chat room. Okay. So we call it icebreaker chat room. Gives him some conditions about the courtesy and the protocol and how many answers you want them to have. So give. Okay, and then you display description and then you have a chat session. Now, this is the chat session which we set up. So, for example, we want to set up our chat session now. So we have a 2 March. It is 9:35. Okay, so 9:35 the chat will start and you can have your chat here. And usually we don't do an activity completion for this because this is just an informal chat session unless it's a marked session. Okay, and we have chat. So we have it called chat and we give it a date. Chat. Today's date was 02/03/2022. Okay, so I just save and display. Okay, you can try it out now. You can go in, any of you can go in, you click on the chat and you just say hi or something like that, and I will show you where it pops up. So now the chat is there. So the first week is generally course synopsis, feedback, chat. Okay, now where do your chat messages come into? Okay, you will ask me this question because sometimes there may be some chat which is offline. It comes in here. Okay, there'll be a chat here. So you can see toggle messages menu. Okay. So if you chat with me, right, this is from the previous lecturers who have been chatting. If you are chatting with me now, you click on chat, you just say hi, it will come over here. It will pop up here in the chat window. So this is a good way to communicate with students rather than using WhatsApp, because WhatsApp you'll have to keep on accessing the groups and so. chat is the best method which is recommended for lecturers. And secondly, chat is recorded in the system. You can back up the entire file for your course file. Okay, so I will show you how to do that once we have populated the course. Okay, now let's check the users now. So I have users, people here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 users. Okay, so that's okay. So I only need more users because I need to show you how to back up. It's good enough. Okay, now comes the course. Okay, now comes the next thing is the date itself here. Some lecturers prefer to teach by topic. Some lecturers prefer to teach by date. So if all that needs to be done here is you just edit this. So you call it topic 1. And then you just enter. So you just call it topic 1. Now, when you have your topic 1, when we used to do the traditional classes in face-to-face, it's very easy because we give the introduction to the topic face-to-face. So it's easier. But in this one, we need to not only add the lecture note, we need to also give some kind of a verbose introduction. So usually when we add lecture note, we don't just simply add. I will show you how it's done. So we add our lecture first, the first lecture. You can put a label for the lecture or you can add the lectures. So I'll add a file, add. Okay, and this I'm just going to copy and paste the same content here. And then this is where you put in the lecture topic. And here is where you give your description. Generally for the description, you copy the introduction part of your lecture and you paste it here. If you have any CLO or PLO for that particular lecture note, you can also add it over here. Now this gives the student an idea of what they are expected to learn upon completion of this course, what competency, because generally the student is coming for the lecture, but they are not aware of that competency. Usually we'll state in our lecture note that upon completion of this, you should be able to achieve this. Okay, so this is where you add your competency, your CL for L lecture learning outcome. Okay, so I just call it LO for this lecture learning outcome for this particular lecture, which you can state. Once this is done, you have everything here and you always do this. So as a default, display description on course page should be done for each one. So the appearance is generally here is automatic, embed, force download, open in pop-up. If this is actually also another feature which sometimes if you don't set it properly, the student will be confused again. So if you embed it, the lecture will be embedded in the content itself. It's automatic. It will be by default on a page. If you force download, if you want the student to actually download the lecture, you put force download, open in pop-up. Now, if you are using a mobile phone, which is the older generation, and you click open in pop-up, the pop-up may get blocked. Okay, so by default, what we do, we either set as automatic or embed. Embed means the lecture comes within the frame of the single screen. Okay, so common module settings are here. Restrict access is no, and activity completion is students can. So this is how you track how many students are actually downloading your lecture note. But be careful with this feature because sometimes it's misleading. Sometimes students will download and they will share by WhatsApp or email or whatever. Then you cannot actually track who has downloaded your lecture. So you ask them to always download from the system itself. So this one will be lecture 1. And nothing. Competencies, you don't touch this because this is again OBE, and save and return to the course or save and display. Okay, now the lecture is actually displayed here. So there are settings here which allow you to hide or close the lecture note. So this is the lecture topic. Usually every lecture will be accompanied by a feedback or a forum. So feedback can be a forum. So general feedback is feedback on lecture 1. Okay. So give them the rules and so on and so forth. Yes. So display, you do the availability and so on and so forth. All these settings are similar to feedback settings, and you can give them, if you are giving them marks for feedback, you can give them conditions are met. Tags is feedback 1. So if you have a tag, later on you don't have to search to the system. You just search using the tag in the search window. Save and display. So you have to edit the question. For example, you choose a longer text answer and please post a link to one reference on, for example, your topic, which is your topic. For example, you're teaching microbiology or cell biology, you can post one link for that particular topic and so on and so forth. Save. Now the system is going to save so you can actually use it as such. Okay. So by right, in blended learning, each lecture topic should be accompanied by one feedback. This is the blended learning protocol, which is used everywhere. So when you go for a blended learning training for the complete, they will ask you to have every module with opportunity for the student to respond to that module. That's why we have the feedback to the lecture. Okay, this is the basic setup. I will show you how to create a simpler setup for you and the student using OER now. Okay, so Zul, can the OER screen just check? OER is being projected. Okay, I will go to OER. Okay, I go to OER. You check your terminal for OER. Yeah. We'll just broadcast from here. Okay. Screen. Okay. So this is actually, I'm going to zoom on this. Okay. 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 Yeah. Okay, now this is the OER system here, and Zul has online. So I assume that everybody in IPB has an OER account. If you don't have an OER account, maybe Eric and Mardani won't have an OER account. Please post in the chat window if you don't have or have. Because Zul is here with me now, we will do it for you instantly. Later on, it will take time because sometimes they will not access the system and you may not be able to post your content. So this is what you need to do. If you do not have an OER account, you register here. You click on register button here and you register with your email address. When you register, Zul is here. He will get an email from you and we will register you in the system. Okay, that works that way because this is not connected to our HR Online Smart V3 single sign-on. This is a separate repository which is accessible globally. So this is why it has a different user ID and password. Okay, so your email ID is important here. Please do not use your same password as your UMS HR Online because this is accessible everywhere. So everyone, everywhere, anywhere in the world can access using OER. Otherwise, you will have problem when you try to, somebody can compromise your account. So I'm going to log into my account. Yeah. Yeah. So only, how many are there? So based on the database here, we are monitoring the system. Only 3 lecturers have got from IPB have registered in the system. So please register now. Okay, please register because this is one of the requirements of UMS KRA. I'm going to log into my system. Okay. Okay, why are we telling you about the system? Now this system, right, is going to help you a lot. We are only trying to, at Center for E-Learning, we are trying to make everyone's work easier. So we spend less of time with the system and more time actually doing the teaching and learning. So this system is actually very useful for you because you can do many things in the system, which cannot be done. Normally what the biggest problem we have is upload, download. Okay, we have to upload content and students to download. Now if you deposit all your lecture note in the OER system, you have the advantage. The first advantage is that you don't have to upload anything in your system anymore. It's purely a link. So just what I did now, I will show you how it's done. Okay, let's look at it. Now let's look at the communities and collections. I'll click on this link. Take some time to download. So the system is responding. Okay, done. It's a bit slow, so I will wait for it to respond. Okay, just give it some time to respond. Now, the way the system is structured, right? It's each faculty, institute, center, pusat, and even the unit is registered as a what they call a community and collection. For example, IPB. Okay, IPB is Biotechnology Research Institute. It has a collection of content inside. Then whichever has all the institutes. Now the highest depositors are actually from the FPEP. They have got, I think they have got more than 100. The rest of us basically have around 36 or 50. But this is IPB's collection. Okay, so I can click on this and you can see there are categories here. Now your categories are e-articles, e-books, e-notes, and educational videos. For lectures, you can actually store it under e-note. E-note. Okay. So in this one, you have e-notes. I have just created this for everyone's benefit. So tomorrow, for instance, I change my lecture, I'm assigned to a new lecture. Then the other previous lecturer has to come and ask me, can I have your lecture note? So to avoid that situation, everything is here. Wherever whichever lecture I'm teaching, the lecturer can always access the content here, download and reuse. This is because this is created using an open access system. Okay. For example, if I click on, okay, let's look at a simple one. I just click a lecture note. So I just click here, for instance. Okay, now this is a lecture note in the system. If I want to download it, all I do is I click view open. Okay, I won't do it now because it will open another page and the system will slow down. Okay, I just click here, view and open. Or if you want to download it, you can download the lecture note and reuse it. Now, this is the URL. Now, suppose I want to share this content with my student. I no longer have to use the PDF file anymore. All I do is this. You go here, copy the URL. Okay, you can use your browser copy button, copy the URL. Go back to your system. I'm going back to my Smart V3. This is the system. Okay, now I want to share the lecture note, but I don't want to use my resources and waste my time downloading, uploading, and so on and so forth. So I just click here, add an activity or resource, add. Okay, now we have our lecture note, which is no longer a file, it is a URL, Universal Resource Locator. So you just add it here. Okay, and I call it lecture note 1. You add external URL. Now I have copied it here, you copy here. Okay, so call this introduction. So I call it, give it a description of the lecture note, what it is. Just copy and paste your intro here. And display description on the course page. The rest is all based on you. Usually for lecture note, we have here, this one, tag is lecture 1. Save and display, save and return to the course. Okay, now the lecture is here. Now you will see here, when you click on this, right, the student will actually go to a handle. A handle is similar to a digital object identified, DOI. Now, the good thing about the system is if you have international students, wherever in the world they are, they can access that. They don't have to go through the Smart Tree system to access that note. They can actually access it through the handler because that is based on a DSpace, a digital space ID, which is accessible globally. The second thing is all your content here will be tracked by your Google Scholar. So suppose you have 14 lecture notes, you will see 14 contents in your Google Scholar. You will also, sometimes people will also cite your content because it's available on the repository. That's the advantage of using the system. You will have no problem with the system at all once you use the linkage. Okay, so I'm going to turn editing off for a while and I'll show you a feature. Okay, now we have uploaded the contents over here. We have our chat and so on and so forth, and we have put our lecture notes. So you can continue this for the next lecture. So you'll have lecture 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. If you do all this, you'll be able to meet the 1732. Okay, the 2 actually relates to assignment. So we have to add the assignment here. For instance, here I add assignment. We just add assignment. Assignment here. Assignment. Give the rules, the cutoff date and all that. So you have to give your rubric here. And you should give your cutoff. Any penalty. You have to state all those here. Okay, everything should be in the first page. Introduction, so the student is aware. If you have any kind of content like the Bahan, you can add to this part here, and then you give it a date. Usually you can set a submission date and a cutoff date. The cutoff date will be after the cutoff date, the student cannot submit anything. But based on the experience with student, usually you have to keep on chasing them for submission. So don't set out the cutoff date. Otherwise, later on, it's hard to modify it again. All the other students get affected. So usually we don't, we just give it a due date, and later on we can open it again. Okay, so remind me to grade by. This will send you an email or a prompt telling you to grade by so and so date, because sometimes we have so much work, we may miss out on the grading dates. Okay, so this is all done online, and you do it with the, so the grade settings. Okay, so you have all these submission settings, group settings, notification, and grade. Now, group settings are used when we have a large group of students, in which case you can designate one of the students as a group leader and he or she will submit. Then you have your grade setting. Okay. Now, for the grade setting, right, this feature is very important, but it will require a training entirely on setting up the grade book. Usually at the end of the semester, we have to print out our files for the verification, all the marks. If we set up the grade book once, all the formative assessment can be done using the system itself. The summative, of course, you cannot disclose to the student, but all the formative assessment you can do in the grade book. The quiz, the assignments, all the marks. So at the end of the day, you just download the whole grade book and you have your Excel work file all in perfect order. Okay, it's an ODT file. You can open it with any application and it's a great file. And then you can just tamba the marks from the final and you'll have your entire spreadsheet ready. Okay, so this is how you do it in the system. So you can set up your grade, which is 100, and then you can mark it accordingly. Or for example, if your assignment had 20 marks, you can set it as 20. Okay, so you can set 20 as a maximum grade and you can scale it to 20. So this will save you again a lot of time because you don't have to keep on looking at your assignment and doing your Excel worksheet. Okay, so that's done. So activity as completion, of course, is students can show as activity as complete when conditions are met. Okay, so we do save and display. This is ready. So my course. Okay, I want you to do something now to help me. Okay, I will go back. I will ask you to help me. What I want you to do is to click on any icon, just click on it and you do the activity. For example, the chat icon, you click, just say hi. You go to the feedback, you just say hi. Just to, the reason why I need you to do this is because I need to show you the analytics feature, or else I cannot demo that to you because there's no data in the system. Okay, so this is, so click on the assignment here. Any of you can click on the assignment, just submit a blank page. Okay, now this is very good for thesis. Okay, the course, the project 1, project 2. Okay, suppose you're doing project 1, usually, or project 2, the student will submit the first part of the thesis, upload it here. When the lecturer has to mark it, don't send it, you don't have to necessarily send the thesis by email to the lecturer. Just tell them, include them in the system as a teacher. They will be able to access the thesis, mark on the thesis, and you'll see all your record in one go. Okay. Otherwise, you have to create a file, assign it to an examiner. He or she will mark, then they will return it back in the system. Everything can be done here. So if I was using the system this way, I'll just upload the thesis here, ask the student to upload as assignment first. Then you assign the teacher, which is the program. For example, see, suppose this is the course, right? And I have people here. Okay. Now the student uploaded, and I want to assign, for example, Eric as the examiner for that particular course. I just have to do, and I have to change their, we have to change their status. We can do it in the admin system. Okay, so I will change his status to, I will change. Okay, I just go to Eric's name. Okay, and I will change him from here. Go to his role. Okay, change his role. His role, and I can change his role. So once you have changed his role, wait for the system to respond 1 minute. You can assign him as a lecturer. Wait, I will do it later on because the system, he's enrolled as student now. So I have to change his role to the user. So wait for a while, we'll do it for you. But once he's assigned Eric, then Eric can mark that particular assignment. Zul, just change his role to teacher while change Eric's role to teacher while I do the other one. Otherwise, it will confuse my system here. Yeah, Dr. Eric, you change him to teacher, yeah, because I'm going to make my system, the system I'll overload and then 1 minute, I have to refresh. Okay. So now this course people, okay. So now Eric has been assigned as teacher. Okay, so you can see here now Eric is a teacher. Zul has assigned him as teacher. You can do it when you're the course leader, you can actually do it by yourself. Okay, so now we are by default online. So if you're doing project 1, project 2, and so on and so forth, you can use this. Even your Latihan industry can be done using this particular system. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now this course, the people here. Okay, one is here. We go back to the course itself. Okay. Now you have your system. Okay. Now you can see that 3 people have submitted an assignment. I'll just go through the movement, the process so that you are all familiar with. 3 of 5 submitted. Okay. Now we have submissions here, so I can see all. Have you submitted a blank page? Can see? Okay, go back to the system. Huh? Oh yeah, sorry. Everyone's there. Okay. So everyone's system, everyone has submitted into the system. Okay.
Only one system.
Okay. So, okay. I can see Dr. Chris here. Dr. Chris has submitted an empty file. Okay. But it's okay. It's perfectly okay. I will show you how it's graded. So I click on grade. And
Sending text.
Okay. Who's someone sending text?
Yeah.
Okay. Zul says someone sending text. Okay, so I'm watching another terminal, so I cannot see the text messages because I'm here in the system. Okay, this is Dr. Chris submission. Okay, I can put in a note here. Okay, I can put in a note here and say improve this section. Okay, improve this section. Okay, suppose you're doing on a thesis. Okay, and just enter it. So the note will remain here, and then you can add stuff. For example, if you want to mark on it or do stuff on it, you can mark. You can draw on you can also add in stamps or formula. Okay, you can add all these inside the system. So you're given many options inside the system to add stuff. Okay, and because formative assessment, you can give them some kind of encouragement, or you can give them some kind of advice here. So you can add any content here. This includes the PDF content. If you're linking any file, you can edit here. Now, some of the lecturers ask, is it okay, for example, a student asking them to refer to a PDF file, can I download it from the internet and share it again in the system? The answer is no. You always share it via the link, or it becomes a copyright issue. Now, you can grade the student. For example, you can give them grade mark here, 19 out of 20. And if you want, for example, if you want the student to see the marks instantly, you notify the student. If not, you unclick the last button here. Okay, notify student. If you don't unclick this, they will actually see the marks instantly. Then you cannot change it again. So if you don't want them to see, don't click on this, unclick this. You can add any kind of file here. For example, if you're adding your table of amendments, you can edit here and then you save changes. Okay, now I'm just going to notify so Dr. Chris can actually see. So I'm going to save changes. Okay, so Dr. Chris will see his grade when he checks. Okay, now when you want to change user, all you do is click here. Okay, just click and you go to the next user, next user, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a very simple way to access the system. Okay, now you have your assignments here. 3 of 5 submitted, 2 are ungraded. So another person has submitted and it's over here. Okay, let's look at the analytics feature now. The reason why I've told you to submit is because of analytics. Now, when you want to view the content, right, go back to your block and then you'll see reports. Click on, wait, I'll zoom first so you can get it clearly. Here, right? Okay, so you click on reports here. And inside this report, right, you will see a lot of content, a lot of symbols here, competency breakdown, logs, live log, etc., etc., etc. So now what you will want is the analytics graphs. So you click on analytics graph and you can see the number of active students. Now see what happens here. I click here. I'll have to go out. Okay. Okay. So how many active students? So apply. Okay. Now you can see the graph of the active students. So at 9 o'clock, there were about 5 active students here, and there is 1 student at 10 o'clock. So this is actually the student who submitted. Now this is showing you here, and this one shows you the student activities, which is basically the clicks. You're clicking on the server, so you have a click. Now this is a very good way to track students during an online class, especially if you're doing an online class and you give them an activity. And then you don't know whether the students actually deliver the activity or not at any given time. So this is a real-time monitoring of the system. So you can see it over here. Now, the advantage of this, the system is like this. You can click on this. Okay, look what I'm going to do. And I can see the active students. Okay, and I can message them and so on and so forth. So I can click here and you can see the student. Okay. So you can see who's active at any given time in the system. So Dr. Chris has viewed the course and all this has been seen here. And this is here, see. You can actually view at any given time all the activities of the student. So this is a good way to track student activity. Okay, now we go back to the original screen here. So I'm going to show you another element of this, which is the grade book. Now, there is a feature here which is known as the grade book. You can click on the grade, okay, and you can see the grade book here. So Dr. Chris has submitted his content here, and he has got a mark, and Prof. Lee also has submitted here, and there's a mark here. Okay. Now, again, this is to improve your productivity. You give everything in the system, the assignment, the quiz, the whatever activity, whatever is assessment, you give it in the system, and then you just look. You can see your grade history. Okay, go up here. Go up here. 1 minute. I just zoom so you can see it is here. Go up here. Export. Export. Okay. Export it. You are given many format. OD or open document, spreadsheet, plain text file, Excel or XML. Usually use open document. Open document will also open in Excel. It will also open in Google Chrome. Sorry, the thing. And then straight away here, download. Okay. It will download as a file. Okay, it's downloading now. So you can try this for your course. It's very easy. So once you have your Excel worksheet, right? This you have your Excel worksheet. Add under column for your final marks, add your final marks, and you're done. You don't have to go and prepare another thing all over again. Okay. So you can access, by right, this should be accessible to the Timbaland Pangara, the Timbaland Deccan Academic, and to the program coordinator. So this should be accessible to them. So all of them, all the courses, you must add the two. Or you can ask us at Center for E-Learning, we'll add them for you. Okay. So if you cannot, okay, so that's the gradebook itself. So this system allows you to access all these functionalities and reduce your workload. Okay, now comes the last part of this, which I want to cover, which before I take question and answer, which will be the export. This is the one which we get many questions. So chat window. Okay, no chat window is there. Okay, so this is where we get a lot of question and answer regarding the backup and restore. Now, at the end of each course, we back up the file and we restore it. This is for the course file as well as for the record program file and so on and so forth. We want to have everything in record. So what we do is here, you click on this one, backup button. Okay, you back up, and then it asks you a lot of stuff, include badges, include calendar events, and etc., etc., etc. Okay, now suppose you don't want to include the users' names, you just click here, unenrolled users, you click. Okay, the enrolled users will not be registered. So suppose you want all the data with the user data, you click here. Usually for the course file, you need that. But if you don't want, you make one copy with the course file, you save it. This file is actually stored in a format which can be opened with Moodle. I will show you how to back up and restore that later. So usually for the general file, we do not do this. Okay, so you have everything. You go to the next one. Okay, so you have, it shows you all the data. So all your data is here. Okay, it asks you if you don't want anything, you just unclick. Suppose you don't want this data, you unclick here. Next. Okay, so again, it asks you what you need to do, it shows you an overview. This is for your confirmation. And click here. I'll show you 1 minute. I zoom on this. I zoom on this now. Okay. The button is here. Okay. The button is here. It's called perform backup here. This button. Once you click on this button, it will generate a backup file. Okay. Backup file was created and continue. Now the you can import the backup file or you can download it back. Okay. Okay. See here. Okay, this is your backup file here. Okay, at this given point in time. So it's 10:08 now, 10 o'clock, Wednesday month. So this is your backup file for this time. If you back it up at a different time, you'll get a different backup file. So ideally, you should back up upon completion of the course, download here. Okay, once you download the file will be downloaded in your system. It will be downloaded in your hard drive or in your whichever system you're accessing, in your cloud drive and so on and so forth. It's a very good idea to store this in your cloud drive, in your Google Drive, because this file contains everything related to your course. Anytime in the future, for example, you have a query from MQA with the user, you want to find out, you can actually access this file anytime. So you don't have to worry about accessing that file later. Now this file can also be restored in the course. So how you do that is you can go to your course, I go back to the course. Zul, we can't back up in our own course, right? Can't destroy it in our own course because we are going to create conflict.
Yeah.
So usually what you do, your backup file is there, right? Your backup file is there. So you will, when you are assigned for the new course for your semester, you have a new semester, right? So all you do is you import this file. Okay, that's the best thing to do. You import this file into your new course. You click here on the import button. So you are assigned a new semester. For example, you are teaching 143 for this semester, and then there's a gap and it's not taught in that semester. Then you are teaching in the next semester. Now you don't have to go and upload each and every lecture note all over again. You have your original file in your cloud. You just import it from here. You open into your course. Okay. So you open that course which you're assigned to, which will be assigned to, and then you continue here. You just import it, you search for the course and you import it. I'm not going to do that now because I'm on the admin terminal and I will open up my others courses. So I don't want to do that, but the button is very clearly defined. And if you have any problem with that, we have our student, our lecturer LMS learning guide and our student learning guides. You can access them in the lecturer learning guide for blended learning. You can upload. There's a function is clearly described there. Okay, so I will go back to Roadshow itself. So that's about the content itself of the Roadshow, about the LMS. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can just post them in the window or you can shout out in the microphone. I will take the questions and we will look at the chat. So we look at the chat. Okay, 1 second, I cannot access. Okay, chat is there?
No.
Okay, chat. Okay.
We can make it.
Okay. Just
like
drag. This one can be dragged. Okay, so I look at the chat. You just address from there. See the question, Zul? Okay, Zul is on the other terminal. He will ask me the chat.
First is from Noratila. Can we turn on notification for the chat, or do we have to access smart QMS every time we want to check the chat status?
Okay. For notification, thank you, Dr. Atira. Actually, for the chat status, right, you have to, there are two ways to do it. One is to be in the system itself, and one is to click here. This is your chat. Okay. 1 minute, I will zoom on that. Can you see it as well? Okay. So, okay. Now, if you were chatting with me in the system right now, it will actually come here. Okay. Look, go up here to your name is here. You click here on this, the chat here, this. Okay, there's a bubble here. If you chat with me now, actually, you will see it up here, right? It will come into the system. The system should be fast. So Atira posts, click on the smart tree, and then you have a chat. You can do this. Okay, I'll show you the other way around. Okay, I'll show you something else. Okay, I will show you another feature which you can use. So you can. Second. I will show you another feature here. Dr. Atira, this is what you can do actually. Go to the Moodle mobile and Moodle app. You can find it at the App Store. And now I'm on the desktop, so I cannot show you the app because I'm on a terminal. You go to and look for Moodle app here. You go and install this Moodle app in your smartphone. Once you have a Moodle app there, you just put in your course code, register as you would register on smartphone. You can see your student chat here, and you can also access all the course content here. So Moodle app is free to download and reuse it for all your course content. You can look for your course here. If you have any problem with the configuration, you can ask me. Okay. So this will save your WhatsApp, and you can also document this in your course file. So you don't have to keep on opening your WhatsApp every time to check messages. Okay, so that's about the system. So any other question there?
The question from Dr. Christopher.
Yeah.
This one is about OER. Is there any size limitation of the file we proceed to OER?
Okay, Dr. Chris, thank you. So regarding the OER system, right, you have two options actually. One option is to upload your file as such, and one option, for instance, if it's a very large file as a video file, you can actually upload it in YouTube and share the link there. With OER, there are only some things which you need to take into account. One is once you upload anything in OER, you cannot delete it from there because it becomes part of the repository. Secondly, in OER, any content should be shared with the Creative Commons license, CC BY minimum license, which means that people can download and reuse your lectures and whatever, and so on and so forth. And the third condition is that the link which you share should be publicly available. For instance, if you share a YouTube link, it should be available in the public domain. Otherwise, the system will flag if it's not available because the system actually looks for the links in the public domain. So YouTube should be for public. We cannot share the lectures from, for example, Microsoft Stream. We are using Microsoft Stream to store lecture, recorded lecture. You cannot share Microsoft Stream with in that because Microsoft Stream will be limited to only Microsoft users. So it's not recommended. So usually YouTube, other public areas, and Creative Commons. Okay. Any other question?
The question is from Dr. Chayo. The system only PDF friendly. When the submission is doc file, it can be displayed to mark on system. Can it charge it?
This Dr. Chayo, thank you. Is that related to the OER system or the Smart 3? Because Smart allows you both. In OER, we can only allow
Smart 3, Dr. Kenneth. It allows students to upload in any format actually, but when we do marking directly on the system only display the PDF one, while the doc file, we need to download it first and so on. So I think it will be convenient if the system allows to directly.
You can actually change the setting. You only want PDF, right, Dr. Chayo?
Yeah, I can change the setting.
You can change
for PDF only, but sometimes students keep the guilt to submit the doc file, something like that. So there is no way. There is
no. There's only one way we can force the student to submit as PDF by changing the file type to PDF. Usually we have different options, Dr. Chayo. One of them is we can ask them to give a link to Google Doc or to Microsoft, the Microsoft Teams. Then the file will be displayed. Of course, again, your problem, because at the end of the day, in terms of efficiency, the lecturer time is wasted if they keep on accessing out, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to address?
Yes.
So you will have to ask them to do PDF only. We have no choice because even if they submit as other format, the system will still convert it to PDF.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but there will be a loss of formatting. That's the thing. The system will convert it, but there may be a loss of format.
Yeah, because even though we already asked them to submit in PDF, there is few students that still keep submitting in doc file. But I think in my system is still in
converted.
It's not converted. So that's the thing, that it's wasting my time to download and then open in another system. And somehow also it gives a chance to lose that documents. Well, the other is still kept in the system, right?
Yeah. So that's the issue, that I think they have to convert it. We have no other choice. I think very easy for them to convert. All they have to do is use the Google, they upload in Google Doc. Even if they don't have a converter, they can PDF it directly.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Dr. Chai, that one we cannot actually change in the system. Because the system, sometimes the Adobe A version changes and then the compatibility issue comes. Okay. Yes, Prof. Prof. Lee, raise the hand so I can.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kenneth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear.
Okay. Actually, I have two questions. Okay, one is on the marking just now.
Yeah,
Just now you did show us how to do the marking continuously, right?
yeah.
So say if I have a test, for example, but in my test I have different type of question. I have multiple choices. I have a short answer. I have long essay, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem that I encountered was I don't know how to mark it continuously from one student after another. But every time after marking for one student, I have to come out, and then not log in. I mean, I have to click on another student. So it actually use a lot of time every time I have to, back and then click on another student again. Is there a way to do the marking continuously? I think you show us just now, but that one is
Yeah.
on the PDF file, right?
Yeah, PDF file.
How about if, for example, in this screen, right? So for example, the assessment is, I have multiple choices, I have short question, I have a short answer, and then I have a long essay. Yeah, different type of question inside that one test. So is it possible to do continuous marking like what you have shown us just now?
Thank you, Prof. Lee. Actually, okay, for the multiple choice question, we will use the quiz for that, Prof. Lee. So MCQ, they can do the quiz because in this system, right, we cannot extract data. For example, if there's a quiz question here, for example, this is a quiz, okay, quiz MCQ. We cannot extract the quiz MCQ from this system because it will only show you the text file. So I would suggest, okay, for example, if you have the MCQ question, the ideal solution in this system is to use the quiz block. That will cover the MCQ Prof. The remaining one, which is related to the qualitative, that can be done here, Prof. Does that solve the question, answer the question, Prof?
Yeah, meaning you're saying that we have to do it separately, right?
Separately, Prof, because this system will not capture the MCQ.
Because normally for our final exam, we have different type of question in that one exam paper. So yeah, that's the problem I face recently, because it's a very big class, about 70 plus students. So every time I finish marking one student, I have to back to the screen. I mean the site that you showed just now with the student list, right? And then I have to click on another student and then come out again, click on another student. So it will take quite a lot of time actually.
Sorry, I'm sorry about that, Prof, but that's a limitation of the system because the system is designed, for example, for all MCQ to put in under quiz category. For example, if I created a quiz in the system for the final exam, that quiz will have to be accessed by the student and they will complete the quiz. Those marks will go into the quiz category. Then you don't have to actually give marks for that quiz again because once the quiz is automated for MCQ, whereas the other content which requires your intervention like this one, that one you will have to do in the assignment system, Prof. That's the limitation, Prof. That is where the system is built.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another one
Prof.
is on the test, right? For example, or quiz or any of the assessments. Say we have set the question, everything, but it is for next week, for example, right? So we have set the date where it will be open and so on. But it will be in the smart tree already, right? So the student
Prof.
Student will be able to see it.
No, Prof.
We
Actually,
have to hide it, right?
Actually, what we do is, okay, suppose I have this week, right? Okay, and then I just click here, edit, and I hide week, Prof. This one. Now, if you will not be able to see it in your terminal, it will disappear from your terminal. But if you want to hide individual ones, you can also hide individual ones. Okay, so this you can hide any of these. For example, if this was a quiz lecture, I don't want them to see, I will actually hide it here. Okay, but this is the overall master switch. So this will close everything. This will be for the individual ones, Prof. Is it okay, Prof?
Is there a way that because what happened normally is because we are very busy, and then by the time the actual time and date for the quiz, we forgot to unhide it actually. So the student
Okay. That one is
Can be
any
unhide
setting that we
automatically,
can do?
Dr. Kenneth, on that day.
cannot, because that is given system privilege. That is you can do it this way. You can actually open it only from for example, I'll give you this is the assignment. Okay, I go to edit here, edit setting. Okay, now I want to keep the assignment open, right? I can keep it only open from certain date to certain date. Okay, so suppose I'm giving this assignment, I don't want the student to see, so you can actually block and you can allow submission only for so and so to certain date to certain date. For example, only from 5th March to 8th March. Okay, you can set it on that date. Okay, and you can enable that. You can also give a restriction. So you can restrict access and you add restriction. Okay, so this will allow, this gives you multiple functionality. Okay, what I was mentioning earlier, the automated. So you can allow, you can do a restriction set. Okay, this is a little bit complicated. So a student must, and then you have to add a restriction, must or must not add restriction. You can add a restriction for the date. So you can only allow them to add, the activity will be there, it will be open, but they cannot do it from certain date to certain date, and then you add the restriction. Now this restriction set is based on your, for example, from 2nd March, you can add the restriction from, for example, 3rd March 2022 to, you can give a time and you can add the restriction. Okay, so you can add that restriction yourself, but that becomes complex. If you need us to guide you through that, we can guide you through that. But you can add a restriction for that. So that will allow you to.
The restriction is for the activity, right?
Yeah.
The student, if I don't hide it, the student can still see the quiz question, for example. Is that they cannot answer at that time?
Yeah,
they can only answer at certain time.
Yeah, they can only answer, because that is not, the unhiding cannot be done automated, Prof.
Okay.
Because that is override. I will just ask Zola admin, can you unhide automatic? No, right?
If the lecturer for the course can set it.
Okay.
So we still have to unhide it manually, right?
Yeah, I will just ask show Zola, the system admin. 1 second. So you can show the unhide feature.
Unhide feature.
Yeah, in the system. Okay, he is the admin, so he will sit. We just go to the unhide.
You mean
so take a system, take any system, take anything and you hide it. Okay, you allow the student to only see it, like quiz, they can only see it within the.
So let's say we are using this as an example, the assignment. Okay.
Yeah.
We are using this as assignment, but we need to set the restriction based on whichever they have finished first. Let's say we want the student to fill in the feedback. Yeah. Okay, let's say we want the students to fill in the feedback first before they are enable to do the assignment. We just click edit settings, and under the restriction, I think you can just remove this one. Restriction activity completion, we choose the feedback like this, and then we
address save and
must be complete.
Must be complete.
Okay, and then just save and display.
Okay.
So
that's the limitation.
Yeah.
That's the only thing which can be done. We can't unhide that.
So now it's restricted, not available, unless the activity feedback on lecture 1 is not complete. So the student need to fill complete on this feedback first, then they can proceed to the assignment. That's the only way.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Okay, bro.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, Prof. That's the admin from Zul from admin. He will. Is it okay, Prof?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, restrict access by date. What Dr. Chris mentioned. That's the only thing which we can do in the system.
So many ways.
Any other question is there? Okay, Dr. Atira, there's a video to restore previous SEM concept. Actually, that is in the book. We have a guide online. If you can go to the website, the CL website. I just open up. Okay, you go to our main PEP website and you will find a book there. There's a book there. Publication. Go to publication and you will find the book there. Actually, this book has got it's got here. Okay, here. This is the one. Okay, you go to this. What we have done is we have created short video in that as well as the screenshot. The screenshot is more important. You don't have to watch the video. Just go to the screenshot and you will see the step-by-step backup restore in that, Dr. Atira. This one here. You can download it. It's an ebook and you can access it anytime. Okay. Okay, Dr. Atira. Any other question? We will move on to the. Okay, that's it. Okay. Dr. Wilson, do you want me to cover the MOOC session or you want to have it as a separate session because it's quite extensive?
Yeah, I think we can arrange for the separate session. I think today we have enough
Dr. Wilson, regarding the MOOC session, right? The content is actually shared in the website. In the when I created the IPB Roadshow today, right? I shared this with you. But this session will require additional training because it involves many elements of the development and the procedure. We have a procedure for developing MOOCs, so we comply with quality. So there's a procedure here. So I'll have to this will require about an hour of instruction. Do you want me to proceed or you want me to
do a separate session? We can arrange a separate session with PEP later about the MOOC.
Yeah, because I don't want to overload the confuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Dr.
So, okay. So before we close, right, we just do another round of the OER system. I just check Zul, how many people registered in the OER system?
For PP is only 3.
Okay. So Dr. Wilson, if you can please help me with this. Currently, based on our statistic, there are only 3 registered users in OER system. Okay. But if more people register, more of our staff, means academic and non-academic staff can register there, we can create more content. So you can just please request registration later. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Wilson.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No problem. Can the PEP help to register, or the registration must be from the lecturer?
Yeah. I just show you just now. So. Okay, so 1 minute. I go back to the system so you can see actually just, okay. So what you do, you go here to the oer.ums.edu.my and you click here as register. When you register, when you click, you just send your email and you send it to register, because only when a lecturer does this step, we can register them in the system. Okay.
Yeah, but because we have all the lecturers' email address, can we put their email address and get the PEP to verify everyone? Then it depends on whether they want to use it, but they are registered. Can we do that, or must be?
It can be done, but somebody will have to key in the message. Usually we ask the user because some user may not want to register in OER.
Okay.
So it's just a request, because the OER will link finally to back to your system, your ELNPT, etc. It links back to that. Okay.
Okay. So must be, yeah, I think it's better to be initiated from themselves lah.
Yeah. Because this is a personal thing. Okay, I will show you one thing which is important in order to capture your data in ELNPT. Okay, just give me 5 minutes. Can you give me 5 minutes?
Yeah, please proceed.
Yeah. So now if you uploaded everything in OER, right? Let me show you exactly how to register, how to get it captured in your data set. Okay, so I put my name here. I just show you how it is done so you can see. Now this system, right, is not going to be captured by the ELNPT. Okay, in order for it to be captured by ELNPT, you have to upload the thing under publications. Okay, so I'll show you the ELNPT. So I'll just go to SMPPI. Okay, you go to SMPPI. Okay, you go into your SMPPI system and you click here. I just log in us to show you. Just give me time. Okay, so when you're here in the system, you are all familiar with it. You go to the publication V2. And then I just put something, okay, and add new publication. This is, everyone is familiar with this. Just put an article. I just put, for example, fish. Okay, I put a wrong word purposely, so it doesn't look for duplicate. Okay, no possible article. Next to proceed. I just zoom up. Okay, so in this section, when you ask to deposit your article, you will have to put in your article as general, and your article will be here, and so on and so forth. Add in all your content, everything. Now, the most important thing in this is to add your link. You remember the URL I told you about? So you copy your URL from here. Okay, for example, you have your e-article here. You copy the URL from the article, just as I showed you how to copy the link for your lecture system. Copy from here, for example, e-article, e-note. Go to this, copy this link. This is actually equivalent to your DOI number, but if you put as without a DOI number, the system will detect. So just copy this and you send it to your system, your SMPPI. You put it over here, you had everything here, and then the data is actually will be, okay. So you have to put this as a non-index publication. One second. So you have this, it's actually international level, but it is a online digital, and you need to select your here. So in this, it is non-peer reviewed, okay, because the OER system is non-peer reviewed. So please select this. The rest you can select by default. This is important, non-peer reviewed. And once you finish everything, you save it. Now, based on the information which we have, the person who verifies it is Mr. ID at library. So everything which is indexed will be verified by PTI. Anything which is non-indexed will be verified by Mr. ID at the library. Okay, Mr. ID Sufyan, he will do the verification. So if you, for example, if you did everything and your system is not detecting it, your ELNPT does not detect it, please contact Mr. ID. Okay, so thank you for that. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Thank you. Is it clear about how it works?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kenneth.
Yeah. So this, any other questions? Zul, can you check the system? Any questions? All right. So there are no other questions. If any other questions, you can just shout or put up a chat box. If not, we would like to thank you very much for your time, for attending this roadshow. Thank you very much, and we will look forward to covering the MOC in the next roadshow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kenneth, for the wonderful talk, and we will arrange with PEP again for the next roadshow on MEE and MOOC.
Yeah, thank you to the director, the deputy directors, and the coordinators for hosting PEP at IPB. Thank you very much.